Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. Every year at the start of the year, I do 2 shows that cover events for the whole year. And last week, we covered the new moons and the eclipses month by month for all 12 months of 2017. And this week, we are going to cover the sun sign predictions for everyone. And so that's why, if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Courage. And that is because 2017 is going to require a lot of dedication on your part and a big dose of courage, because it is going to be such an energetic, fast-paced year. And that is going to require a lot of action from people. And so this is a year when you will have to be at your very best. And that is in your best shape physically and mentally and morally, in order to make good, sound decisions. Because this year, your actions could have very long-term consequences. So you have to be a little bit careful and really think carefully before you decide something, even though it will be a fast-paced year. So this is a time when we have to have a lot of courage if we can. And along with the idea of courage, it isn't enough to say you have to have a lot of courage. It means that you may have courage, but there can still be a little fear involved, because you don't know if what you're going to try is going to be successful. But you really should give it a try anyway. And that's what I mean by having courage. It doesn't mean you won't be afraid of failure. It just means that this is a good year, if you have good reasons for doing something, to kind of get your courage up and give something a go, and be very, very dedicated to whomever or whatever you really love, so that you're willing to stand by that and promote that all year long. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, what it means is that the tide turns early for you this spring, and that is because there are going to be a lot of planets in your own sun sign, and so I think that you are going to be off to a dynamic new start by your birthday. And that is because you can be aided by people behind the scenes that can help you onto a new start by then. So that's great, because this is a year when you can sort of be supercharged, Aries. And the problem with that is that it might be easy for you to make impetuous mistakes, and you really don't want to do that if at all possible. You should be prepared for some sort of move by summertime, and that is why you'd have to get in the best possible shape in order to get through a move. And then there is the possibility that you could be off and running in some sort of endeavor where you are sort of swept up with others by the end of the summer under the solar eclipse in Leo, which does trine your sun. That could be very lucky for you. However, by the end of the year, you are going to be challenged, and you're going to have to try to really watch your money, because things could get expensive. Your expenses will be high, particularly in 2018, 19, and 20 as well. But because you will be so challenged by the end of the year, that is why, if you could renew your dedication, then at the same time you could be very committed to something. And of course, you should be very thrifty as well. So you do have a lot to watch out for. And one of the things you have to watch out for, Aries, is not moving too quickly, because you remember, changes or things that people do this year are going to have consequences for a very long time. All right, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this year is going to have some sort of shakeup in it for you. And that is why I would say that 2017 is going to be a challenging and competitive year for you. And you're not going to win every challenge, and you're certainly not going to win every competition, Taurus, but I urge you to sort of stay in the game. In other words, you know, keep your hand in win or lose, keep your hand in, because by the end of the year, you will be glad you did. It's just that you're not going to have everything your own way this year, and by May, you're going to be working very, very hard. During the summer, Taurus, someone else is going to take all the credit, even though you have done all the work. You may not like that, Taurus. And so by fall, there is the possibility that you could relocate somewhere else or transfer in some way, and that would be much to your credit, particularly in the month of September. So you really ought to seriously think about that. And then by the end of the year, you are going to be very calm and very steady and very secure. That is why, even though there's going to be a shakeup in your life this year, Taurus, and you're going to be facing challenges and competition, sort of keep your hand in the game, because you end in a rather serene way by Christmas time, and that sets you up for a lot of quiet, calm, steady security in 2018. So just remember, there are better things coming by the end of the year. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, at the start of the year, your plans and partnerships look very rosy and promising, and many people can be quite generous with their time and their assets. But not everyone is so fortunate. And so this is a year when you have to practice a little humility, Gemini. And you know, this is not when you really have to rub salt in anyone else's wound. This is a time when you should try to be somewhat discreet and compassionate if you can, because clear up through October, you are really going to have a lot of help from a lot of people. And this fall, there can be a beneficial revision of some sort of legal matter that works out well for you, which is good. The month you actually have to watch out for is the end of May and going into June. So around your birthday, it's going to be a very dangerous time, and you could be severely threatened then. And so when in doubt, say nothing if you can. And I think that there is the possibility, Gemini, that your reputation can be tainted by malicious gossip that can be spun by people who are younger than you. And in order to get away from that, my advice to you is to lay low or hide out, because by the end of the summer, you are flying on the wings of eagles. You are doing just fine. And then in the fall, you certainly are going to benefit from some sort of legal revision that I think makes you look very good. And so I think you're going to be involved in some sort of improvement at that time. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a year that you may think about moving on. In fact, I think that you are going to be moving on, and the choice may not always be yours, Cancer. It could be somebody else's choice as well. And so you just have to be a little bit prepared for changes. But by the summertime, you're going to be able to make changes that will allow you to have a quieter and more comfortable lifestyle by 2018, which is good for you. There is the possibility that there can be new additions to your family this year in one way or another, and a longed-for reunion is going to occur at Christmas time, and that will make you very happy. You can afford to end something this year, Cancer, and so since you can afford to do that, I would if I were you, because you'll be able to look forward to a lot of calm security and some sort of contentment by the end of the year at Christmas time. So yes, it's going to be a moving on type of thing for you this year, but I'm happy to say you're the one that's going to come out the winner, no matter whose idea it is to move on. You're the one that will benefit by the end of the year. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, you are going to go through some sort of great change this year. And the reason why is that other people that you're associated with have plans of their own, and they'll follow through on those, and that will be the catalyst for changes that you will make as well. there is the possibility in April that you'll make some sort of undeniable new start, but you will be working very, very hard for that, and you'll have to be careful about the money and be somewhat thrifty in May. But by the summertime, particularly by the end of the summertime, when there is a solar eclipse at the fateful 29th degree in your sign on August 21st, you really will be going through a boom or bust time. And that is because, remember I said that this year, any actions that anyone takes will have long-term consequences. So that is why, even though you can be certainly aspected for a great change this year, and it could be a very successful one, you have to really stop and think about what the consequences are for any change that you do make. And think about that before you do it, Leo, because this is a year when you cannot overindulge at all. And you really can't afford to take any kind of gamble. If you do overindulge in any way, it could cost you your life. And that is why you need to sort of think before you act this year. All right, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, early in the year, some sort of weak link in your life breaks apart as friends decide by mutual consent that they are going to end something. But it is by mutual consent. However, by May, Virgo, you will hardly notice their loss because you are going to be very, very busy. June is a dangerous month for you. And the reason why is that you could be accident prone throughout the summer. And so you've got to be very, very careful. And once again, if things are moving a little bit too fast, then that should be a tip-off to you, Virgo, to slow down instead. And by September, you actually get something that you really want, which is good, or else you're put in a position of greater responsibility or greater acclaim, which is good. But this is simply a time, Virgo, this year when you can be very busy, but you have to be very careful as well, particularly during the summertime when you could be accident prone. So you need to slow down a little bit by then. And then by the end of the year, there could be more money coming your way, and that might be because you'll have a friend who gets very, very lucky in the early fall, and they could share their bounty with you, and the money would be there by Christmas. But you need to sock it away, Virgo. Don't spend a whole bunch at the holiday time, because there are much better things coming for you in 2018, and you might need money for that instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, your partnerships or some sort of deal can be looking very rosy early in the year. But the problem is that someone else, and it might be a partner, can be a little bit jealous about that, and they may want to have more than their fair share. So this is a year, Libra, when you really need to check the fine print in everything before you sign it, and you should try to get some good legal advice, because by April, an aggressive competitor may want to take control. And I really think that if you back off a little bit, you could get a better partner over the summer or by fall, and you could also get better terms in a deal, Libra. So just remember that you don't have to take the first deal, and you really do need the good legal counsel before you sign anything this year, because you're the one with the good intentions, but other people may not have them, and they may be trying to trick you instead, and certainly take a little more than they should be getting. So there's that to look out for. You need to save your money this year and not spend it during the year, because at Christmas time, I think you're going to be spending a whole lot of money, Libra, and you could have a good reason, a happy reason to be doing that. So that's why you need to save in the meantime. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a year when early on you could be challenged, and yet by March, an unseen angel grants you a secret wish. And it is a gift of love from one heart to another, and that makes you very happy. That could come around March or so. And then you really do need to be in the very best shape in order to prepare for some sort of move or change, because the time has come, and that will be in the summertime or certainly by July. That change or move may not be complete until later on in the fall, though. In August, you will reap as you have sown, and by November, there will be justice, which will be done, and whatever the verdict is, it will be final. And so you do have those things to look forward to. 2018 is going to be a year that is going to be much quieter than you have experienced in the past. And so I think you're going to be ready for that quiet by then. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is a starting over year for you. And the reason why is that it is an action-packed year. It's a very energetic year. And there are a lot of planets in fire signs this year, so there are going to be trines to your sun sign. And so I think that it's a starting over year, because I think you're going to be able to make some sort of move, beneficial move this year. And it would be beneficial not only to yourself, but to children as well. And then I think there is the possibility that you can be involved in a pilgrimage or a migration of some sort that is blessed by the courts and by the church. And I think this year you are going to take at least one long distance trip. You might be able to take two. And then as the year ends, you learn finally a lesson, a hard lesson. And by the holidays around your birthday, some onerous burden that you have been shouldering for the last few years is lifted. And I'm happy to say, Sagittarius, it is never coming back. And so that's why it's good that this is a starting over year for you, because you do have better things to look forward to. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, you shed a skin this year as you prepare for greater stability, more solid stability by the end of the year, when Saturn, your own ruler, comes into your sun sign by December 20th. And it will stay in your sun sign throughout 2018, 19, and 20. And so that will certainly give you a lot of stability. But the reason why you shed a skin is because that can represent sort of an awakening for you. And in April, I think that you are going to make some undeniable new start. And I think it is going to be very difficult for you. But by May, it could be lucrative, so that's a good reason to stick with it. And even though it could be lucrative, I guarantee you in May, you will be earning every cent that you make sort of the hard way. But by summertime, you need to be in the very best health possible so that you can enjoy a rather nice payoff that can be coming to you in September and October. And then by that time in the late fall, the money can be trickling in by Christmas time, and it can continue to do that throughout 2018. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, early in the year, a joint project can be looking rather hopeful. In other words, you're involved doing something with other people. And that can be this month in January. But by February, it can be subject to revision, and that can be because somebody leaves and perhaps they have to be replaced, or there is a change because they leave. This is a year when you can be having to watch your finances very, very closely, particularly in May. And so not only will you be working hard in May, but there can be a financial matter, maybe it's a tax matter, maybe it's a credit matter, or maybe just higher costs that you will have to attend to. It could be just higher expenses at that time. And then in the summertime, you have to be careful because there is a solar eclipse on August 21st at 29 degrees of Leo, and it exactly opposes the 29th degree in your sign where your sun is, and that will signal a great change for you. So there is a great change coming for you, Aquarius. It could come anytime during the summer, and when it occurs, you will be, it's something that you will be challenged. It will challenge you, and the thing is, you'll have to be extremely careful with money, particularly in the fall. And so this is a time when you can't afford to take any kind of a gamble, not this year, and particularly not in the summertime when a great change is due to come your way, Aquarius. And so I think that I wouldn't make too many commitments beyond the summertime so that you can be somewhat fluid and able to make that great change, because I know it's coming, Aquarius. It could be wonderful because Jupiter in Libra is trining your sun clear up until October 11th. And so, but you also will have high expenses as well. Those high expenses at the end of the year that you have to be careful about will continue in 2018 as well. So I don't know what the great change is. I mean, it could be wonderful, but it is coming. So your life will be changing this year, Aquarius, and since your sign rules sudden change, I think it might turn out to be something delightful. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, there is a wonderful solar eclipse in your sign on February 26th at 8 degrees, and there are going to be 4 planets in your sign at the time. And so that represents the opportunity for you to get a second chance at something, Pisces, and that's what I think will happen this year to you in the spring. You will, that second chance, remember, if you are very dedicated and you have courage, which we're all going to need this year, and you are at your best, that second chance can help you learn from your past mistakes, and it can be very beneficial and rewarding to you by August or September. And so you have got a lot to gain this year, Pisces, by getting real serious just about yourself and how you can be at your very best. That doesn't mean you can slide back into old habits or make more mistakes. It means you have to be really dedicated and have the courage to say no. So in the summertime, and particularly in June, is a time when you can be severely threatened or you can be in danger in some way, and it can be from some sort of malicious proposal or trick that somebody wants to make on you. And so my suggestion to you this summer is don't take the bait, Pisces. Don't listen to somebody who's trying to get you to do something you know is not right for you. Instead, learn from your past mistakes, and then you'll be facing the fall, particularly from October on. You will be quite fortunate, and there can be additional money for you, not only in the fall, but certainly at the holiday period, and that will be because Jupiter will go into Scorpio and begin to trine your sun after October 11th. So you have a lot to gain by being at your best, and remember, this is a year when our actions are going to have long-term consequences. So if you want to shine for a long time, this is the year when you need to be really serious about doing that, Pisces, so I hope you're at your best. Okay, remember that this is a year when we are going to be very busy, when there are a lot of new things that are in the pipeline, when you will have to think really seriously about the end game. In other words, whatever action you take, remember, it will have such long-term consequences that you've got to ask yourself not only what you want to do and how you want to get somewhere, but what will it mean in the end? And how much courage is it going to take? Really, when in a year when there are so much on the line, the dedication and courage that is required to be at your best is going to require sacrifice. It's going to require that all of us have to say no to some things that we know are not good for us, and that is in order to improve ourselves. Well, this year we've got to do it because things are really going to change in 2018. And it's like climbing a mountain. This is the year you've got to try to get to the top, because if that's where you are by the end of the year, you are going to be looking at success for a long time to come. So whatever sacrifice you have to make this year, for all of us, it really could be worth it for the rest of your life. So good luck. All right, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.